Barcelona 3, Inter Milan 3, halftime in this Champions League semi-final. And if yesterday your complaint was that it was a little too boring for your liking and there wasn't enough goals and I don't know, you can't say the same thing about today. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we've been fed a meal. We've been fed a meal by UEFA. We've been fed a meal by Barca, and we've been fed a meal by Inter. Because that, if you don't like that, you don't love Champions League football. It's as simple as that, right? If you didn't like what we just got finished watching, you're watching the wrong sport. That game had a little bit of everything. It had goals, it had quality defending, it was end to end, it was intense, and there was ridiculous amounts of quality, especially by one player. One player in particular. We'll get into all of that, right? But going into this game, the storylines were very, very interesting. Now, I've looked at Inter all season long as a potential dark horse for this tournament based on the way that they defend, how great of a knockout manager I think Simone Inzaghi is. And you know what it is as well too? Against teams like PSG and against teams like Barca, I think you're potentially looking at the best side equipped to deal with them. I'm not saying Inter are as good as them or they are the best team in the world, but as I always say, it's just like boxing. Styles make fights. And Inter's style seems to suit going up against the likes of Barca and PSG a lot better than it might against, I don't know, a team that isn't as free-flowing and open as those teams are. Because Inter are a team that aren't afraid to sit deep. They're not afraid to suffer throughout games. They're not afraid to secede possession. And they're not afraid to hit you on breaks in that manner. They're also able to control games for sure. They're a very good footballing team. But they have a little bit of everything. However, going into this game, my big fear with Inter was, the recent form. Scoreless in their last 3 games. I think over the last 8 in all competitions, they've won 2 of them. And it just seems like the machine that they are, and get it right, they are a machine, has kind of just ran out of petrol. They are running on empty. You look at the last few games, and it's a team that is really seemingly out of gas. It's a very, very good team, but when you watch this team play, they don't look like they have anything left in the tank previous to this game. And I think it's clear to see why. Inter today played the oldest team in a Champions League semi-final since Juve against Monaco in 2017. We haven't seen a team this old in the Champions League semi-final for the last 8 years. More so than just that, of the 22 players that have played over 500 minutes for Inter this season to this date, 12 of them are over 29 years old. 7 of them are over 32 years old. 5 of them are over 35 years old. It's an old team. And it's a team that doesn't have a lot of great depth. The 2 injuries up to this point, up to today, of Marcus Thuram and Denzel Dumfries have absolutely killed this team. They don't have the depth required to replace them for a long stretch of time. And it has killed their hopes in the Coppa Italia. It's left them on the outside looking in the Serie A title race. It now lies in Napoli's hands. And to this point, it did look like going up against Barca, they might be in trouble. Inter are a great team, but it almost felt like they hit a bump in the road at the wrong part of the season. However, going into this game, those 2 players I mentioned, Denzel Dumfries and Marcus Thuram, were available. And within a minute, or how long did it take them to score? It felt like a minute. It felt like 30 seconds they scored it. They combined for a goal. Denzel Dumfries bursting down the wing, finding Marcus Thuram, Inigo Martinez slipping at a key point, which I don't think enough people are talking about, but slipped at a key point, and Marcus Thuram on hand with a delightful little back heel, a delightful little flick past Szczesny to give Inter, against all odds, against all expectation, a 1-0 lead within 30 seconds. Completely against the script. Nobody's seen this coming. Everybody looked at Barca at home against that depleted Inter team and thought, yeah, Inter are good, but this is the right time to be playing them. Not so fast. Not if Dumfries and Thuram have something to do about it. And those 2, for me, were the best players for Inter today. They were incredible in everything that team did. Thuram, of course, took his goal extremely well, but his hold-up play, guys, there's a reason why I've said all year I think Lautaro is brilliant, but this year for me, Thuram is the better center forward out of the 2, purely based on this season. He is everything for this Inter team in terms of how he's able to kind of just control a back 4 through his hold-up play, through his link-up play, through his ability to run the channels, his ability to stretch back 4s. The guy is so underrated. And then on top of that as well too, he's really had his scoring boots for Inter this season. And Taremi, who played decent actually in his cameo today, it's actually one of the better games I've seen from Taremi for Inter. When he's been asked to replace Thuram from the start, just hasn't been able to do it. Arnautovic has tried. He hasn't been able to do it. That partnership between himself and Lautaro Martinez, it's invaluable to Inter. And they got the lead. But the other guy, Denzel Dumfries, wow, you talk about specialist wingbacks. Another thing for Inter, right? All season long, if you watch this team, you know. They don't live and die, right? But the 2 players that make or break the system for me are the 2 wingbacks. Dumfries on the right, DiMarco on the left. I've seen games where literally Inter score off one wingback crossing it to the other. or the one wing back scoring crossing to the other. They're that influential. And to be honest with you, with 3-back teams, I always think the wing backs are really the most important because the amount of distance they have to cover back and forth, they have to be just as good going forward as they are defensively. They are literally the link between defense and attack, especially for Simone Inzaghi team. So missing Dumfries for as long as they have was huge. But then you look at the offensive contribution that he gave to that team, popping up with 2 goals and assists today, and the manner in which he took those 2 goals. I mean, incredible. Dumfries is a wingback, but in the air, one of the best aerial threats you will find in the game. The guy's an absolute monster. Today is a performance that Maicon can be proud of. You guys remember Maicon, the old Inter fullback? That's a performance that he can be proud of. Dumfries was bombing up and down that flank, and quite simply, Barca could not handle him, whether it was Gerard Martin on the left or whether it was Inigo Martinez in the second half. He was unstoppable. The amount of power, the pure directness down that wing, whipping balls in. Araujo twice with huge blocks to stop Barcelona from conceding off those set pieces. And then one of them with the closest offside that you will see this season. Dumfries crossed the back post right into the path of Mkhitaryan, who puts it away. Ref immediately holds his flag up. Mkhitaryan is adamant, not offside. And we go and see it. And guys, quite literally, a toe offside. A toe offside from Mkhitaryan. And honestly, right, it's the rules. The rules state you're offside by any margin, you're offside. But this is where, honestly, when Wenger is trying to change the rules for it, I low-key hear him. And let's just be fair here. We're being objective. I don't have okay, I like Inter, but I don't have a dog in either fight here, right? Seriously. I like both these teams. Mkhitaryan is not creating any advantage by being this far offside. I'm sorry, there's no advantage there. They're practically neck and neck. Like, I'm looking at the line right now. It's practically neck and neck. I don't know. I'm not going to say they got robbed because it's the rule. There's no robbery going on here, but it's extremely unfortunate. And that second half, Inter really turned up the heat. But forget about the second half. 20 minutes in, Inter were 2-0 up in Barcelona, completely against the script. And my chat at that point were starting to say, uh-oh, this might be tie over. And I'm just thinking to myself, really? Guys, really? Are we that naive to think this Barcelona team aren't going to score goals? Allow it, man. Allow it. It's a huge advantage to have. 2-0 away to Barca, of course. But come on, when's the last time Barca didn't concede in a game? Or didn't score in a game? When's the last time Barca won a game scoreless? Who's the last team to keep Barca from scoring? I'd love to know. These guys are guaranteed goals, man. You score 2, we score 3. You score 1, we score 2. You score 3, we typically score 4. They score for fun, man. So for me, it was never a question of would Barcelona be able to get back in this game. For me, the question of Barcelona is how many are you going to concede? But in terms of scoring, there is no conversation whatsoever. And that goal, much like most good things for Barcelona today, came in the form of one man and one man only. And I say one man, he ain't even a man. This is still a boy. It came in the form of one kid and one kid only. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the best player in the world. Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Throw me whatever name you want, and I'll respect them. I'll say they're a great player, and you're entitled to your opinion. But I know what my eyes are telling me. Oftentimes, when Messi was breaking through at Barca, you always heard these little stories from Van Bronckhorst and from Ronaldinho and from my man, Johnson. They would all say, yeah, man, Ronaldinho was winning the awards, and Kaká was doing his thing, right? And he was still young, but everybody knew this kid was the best talent in the world, man. Everybody knew Messi was him. Even before he started scoring 40 goals a season, they knew Messi's different, bro. Ronaldinho literally told Kobe Bryant, I'm not the best player in the world. This little kid next to me is. We didn't need to see it over a huge stretch of time to know what kind of talent we were talking about. And that was a Messi at 17, 18 years old who, let's call it what it is, was not playing like this. Talent is a different thing, but performances was not performing like Yamal was at that same age. I'm sorry. I love Messi. This is the greatest player I've ever seen in my life. He was not playing the way Yamal is right now. Forget about any teenager that your eyes have seen post-2000, because R9, I can't speak on him. Pele, I can't speak on him. Post-2000, there is not a single teenager playing at the level he has. There's not one. This kid's different, bro. This kid's different. And you want to know how different he is. You want to know how special this kid is. How unique he is. He's not one of the bottle. He is a special one. And shout out the special one. Because I remember, and you're going to say, I literally watched the game back with my stream a few days ago. Inter versus Barca at the San Siro in 2010 when Inter won 3-1. And even in the second leg when Barca won 1-0. Jose Mourinho has a video on YouTube. You can go check it out right now. It's like basically like a coaching masterclass of how his Inter team beat Barca that year. And he literally mapped it out, tactic board, and he said, we know Dani Alves on the right-hand flank is going to dominate that entire flank. He's going to bomb up and down. And when he bombs up and down, he's going to allow Messi the space to kind of come in inside. And our left back cannot follow Messi all the time because he has to worry about Dani Alves as well too. So the second Messi comes inside, Esteban Cambiasso, who's playing as a left central midfielder, and then Thiago Motta as well too, both have to shift to Messi and literally create a wall around him every single time he gets the ball. They created a wall of Zanetti, Cambiasso, and Motta around Messi even before the ball got to him. You can watch the game, it's on YouTube. Every single time the ball leaves Xavi's foot in the path of Messi, they swarm to him. That was Messi after he had already won the Ballon d'Or in 2009-10. I think he was probably about 22 years old at that point. Today, I watched Inter double and triple team a 17-year-old every single time he got the ball. And this isn't like, oh, the shape of the team dictates that they're going to kind of put enough bodies in. Nah. This is not like, oh, team structured out of possession. It's not like that. I literally watched Henrik Mkhitaryan shift over to basically hold DiMarco's hand, and they double teamed him. Yamal is facing up, and Mkhitaryan and DiMarco are defending him together. That's double teaming to a 17-year-old. And I get he's special. You have to do that against him. But honestly, deep what I'm saying, guys, they're putting two guys on a 17-year-old. And at times, it was three. At times, Bastoni was drifting over too. Inter are one of the best defensive teams in the world. You could make the argument they are the best defensive team in the world. And a 17-year-old had them trembling in their boots every time he got the ball. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what anyone tells me. This is the best player in the world. He's the best player in the world. I'm sorry. He is. Every time he gets the ball, magic happens. The other day on Twitter, I spoke about the experience of watching Messi live in the flesh. I've had the honor of, if I say it is an honor, right? Honestly, it's a pleasure. I've seen him 4 times now in the flesh. For the Argentina, for PSG, and then for Argentina again. And every time in the stadium, Messi gets the ball, it's like an experience unlike any other. And unless you've been in the stadium watching Messi, you won't know what I'm talking about. But guys, he literally gets the ball played to him. He doesn't have to do anything. And you can feel the entire stadium almost like lean over a little. Like, you know when you're playing FIFA and you need to start concentrating, so you lean over a little bit. You can feel an entire stadium, 80,000 plus, lean forward in their seats in anticipation because you know something great is about to happen. You know every time he gets the ball, no matter where he is, something great might happen. That's the feeling you get with Lamine Yamal. And it's a feeling that only the special ones really give you. Lamine Yamal is a special one. And the goal that he scores today is just flat out ridiculous, guys. It's flat out ridiculous. I'm starting to think, what can't this kid do? Maybe like his shooting, it needs to be a bit more consistent. That's going to come. But the way this guy can just rip apart a fullback like nothing is ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous. Weaving past one, weaving past another, opening up his hips, curling it in, posting it in. Jan Sommer doesn't even move. Well, how can he? You can't stop this kid when he wants to. The things he did to DiMarco today. I know DiMarco is not an out-and-out left back, right? He's a wing back. He's much better going forward than he is defensively. I get that. But he's not a slouch. He's not a schmuck. Yamal at times had DiMarco looking like a schmuck. He literally needed Mkhitaryan and Bastoni by his side at all times. That's how good this kid is, man. He's incredible. He grabs the first 2-1. Shortly after, Pedri, wonderful, clipped ball over the top to Rafinha, who heads it into the path of that guy Ferran Torres again, stepping into the very, very big boots of Lewandowski to score yet another important goal for them. 2-2. And honestly, at this point, guys, Barcelona were just peppering Inter. Attack after attack after attack after attack. Inter were suffocating. They were suffering, bro. I said Inter liked to suffer. It was like, wow. They couldn't breathe. They couldn't string 5 passes together. And one thing from Inter that I kept saying, I was like, they're not playing this right. But Real Madrid showed the game plan to get some success against Barcelona is A, to win the physical battles in midfield, and then B, play those long balls in behind on the counterattack. They were almost trying to play out from the back. And the way Barcelona press you is so suffocating that it's practically impossible to play out from the back against this team. It's so difficult to, because of how many numbers and the intensity they commit. Honestly, that last 30 minutes from Barcelona in the first half, it felt like, I don't even know. They were like, it felt like they were on PEDs, bro. The intensity they were playing on was insane. Insane. And I was just thinking to myself, right? You wouldn't think that after 20 minutes, Inter had scored 2 goals. It felt like Barcelona were winning by 4. It felt like they were killing them. Alas, second half comes. Some big substitutions for both teams. Gerard Martin comes off. On came Inigo Martinez. Araujo at center back. Inigo Martinez went to left back. And that was a change that Hansi Flick did against Real Madrid. I really liked it. I think Inigo Martinez actually played decent that first game. against Real. And as for Inter, Lautaro came off, but I don't think he came off at halftime. I think he came off a little after. But Araujo came on for Barca, and honestly, that substitution was huge because the amount of times this guy started killing, almost like guaranteed Inter goals. Like it felt like Inter were guaranteed to score, and Araujo was there on the spot every single time he was needed. Araujo has had his criticism this year, and really he's been ousted from the team by Inigo Martinez. But today, you cannot fault the guy. His cameo was huge for Barcelona. And I don't think, if he wasn't there, I think they would have lost this game. He had some clearances where two Inter players are waiting at the back post, open for a tap-in, that he just had to be there for. Huge performance from him. But the second half, all of a sudden, few things happened, right? Oh, what happened? Sorry, Koundé came out for Barcelona. And on came Eric Garcia. That's what happened. Eric Garcia comes on. All of a sudden, Yamal in the second half is a little bit quieter. When he gets the ball, he's still doing his thing. But if you noticed, Yamal was playing a whole lot more central in the second half. And that's because basically that relationship that he has with Jules Koundé, which is so good, by the way, Koundé overlapping at all times, Yamal playing off of him, it kind of just disappeared. And he was really left isolated because now you have Eric Garcia as your right back. He's not really crossing the halfway line. So Yamal almost was playing as like a 10 in the second half. He kind of said, allow the right wing role. I don't have my right back with me. Let me try and do damage down the middle. So he did a little less in the second half, but the first half, he was crazy. And all of a sudden, Barca, I thought, struggled to really kind of break down Inter. Inter became a lot more compact in their shape. I thought Nicolo Barella in the second half was a huge player for them in terms of just being a bit of relief. Every time they managed to get the ball back, he's able to kind of break the press through his dribbling, carrying the ball forward, playing guys through. Barella in the second half, I thought was really, really important for them. And Bissek as well, too. His defending, aerially, closing out Rafinha on the left, really, really important for them. But all of a sudden, Inter became much more comfortable in their block. I wouldn't say they parked the bus, but they played in a really, really compact mid-block that really, for the most part, nullified Barcelona for large periods of that second half. And all of a sudden, they started having huge success in behind on the counterattack. Like Dumfries, again, down the right. Thuram holding up the ball. All of a sudden, they're able to get the team up the pitch and create some really big opportunities. And I think Inter in the second half actually went toe-to-toe for Barca. If not, they were the better team. And again, the third goal comes from another set piece, and it comes from, yet again, Denzel Dumfries, who is just too big, too strong, too powerful, too imposing for Dani Olmo. Heads it into him. Again, another set piece goal from against Barcelona. I think that's 4 in the last week, 4 in the last 2 or 3 games, which is a concern for them. But man, Inter in those areas are so dangerous, bro. When you have the likes of Bissek, Acerbi, Bastoni, Thuram, like these guys in the air are crazy good. And I do think, just like Arsenal and PSG have ways of hurting each other, the way to hurt Barcelona is from a physical point of view, and especially from a set piece point of view. And Inter showed 2 times today that they can punish Barcelona. That lead didn't last very long though, because right on the other end, corner from Pedri, short into the path of Yamal. Yamal kind of lets it go through his legs, a la Marquisio against England in 2014. Into the path of Rafinha. Rafinha, first time shot, off the bar, bounces off Jan Sommer's head, bounces into the goal. It's a bit unfortunate for Jan Sommer. He doesn't know too much about it, but it's a terrific strike from Rafinha. 3-3, all of a sudden 15-20 minutes left to play for. But from there, to be honest with you, I felt like it was a lot of possession from Barcelona. They had most of the ball. They were trying their hardest to break down Inter. And they had one pop shot from Rafinha that looked like it was going in. But I don't know if you guys have ever seen Avengers, where Captain America, he's fighting, right? And he's getting his ass beat. And he wipes the blood away from his mouth and he's like, I can do this all day. That was Inter today, man. That was Inter today. Hey, you want to keep hitting us with cross after cross after cross to Ferran Torres, Bissek, Bastoni, Acerbi, Dumfries. We can do this all day. We can do this all day. Barca are going to have to approach it with a different game plan away at the San Siro, man. Because Inter did show some frailties in their game. There have been teams to show frailties in Barca's game this season. They're not a perfect team, especially defensively. But Inter today did a really, really good job in that second half in particular of kind of keeping them quiet and really hitting them on the break as well, too. So let's see what happens away. I think Jules Koundé, they're saying, is going to miss the second leg, which is a huge, huge miss for Barcelona. His relationship with Yamal is massive. And it's a big return for the likes of Thuram and Dumfries, because as we've seen today, Inter are a completely different team when those two are available from the start. So let's see, man. Let's see if Lautaro is back as well, too. But both these Champions League ties, everything to play for, man. Everything to play for. I'm really looking forward to the second legs of them. I predicted a Barca versus Arsenal final. At the moment, I think PSG and Inter are the much happier teams going into the second leg. But I wouldn't count out Barca. I wouldn't count out Arsenal. I think the next 90 minutes of both these ties, everything to play for, man. I'm thoroughly entertained. The Champions League is back. Tomorrow we got to watch Europa League. We'll be back for that as well too. Man United versus Athletic Club. Let me know in the comment section down below, by the way, guys, who caught your eye? Where do you think the game kind of went in Inter's favor? What do Barcelona need to do in the second leg to kind of get something away from this? Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.